You know, this is a good episode, like we usually say, for a form of therapy. We just witnessed something that I think nobody expected. You know, so I think we need to talk about these things to, like, you know, have a settled mind about it, because it's kind of like it took me out of nowhere, bro. Like, I was at work when it happened, and I'm just like, for real?
For real? And then you text me, and before I even got a chance to, like I said, I was doing my social media thing, and before I even got a chance to look it up and research it, or I just quickly researched it, my sister started FaceTiming me, and she was going crazy. She was like, do you see what's going on out here? This is crazy. These people are rushing into the Capitol. Like, if this was us, there'd be bodies on the ground, this, that, and the third. I'm like, yo, relax. Take it easy. Take a chill pill. Go sit down somewhere. And I started doing it. She's like, I'll call you back. I can't deal with this. So I'm like, all right, cool. My wife was working. I went into, her little work area, and we're just like, yo, you see this? And I started researching it, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, white people run into the Capitol. I get it. They're upset. They're trying to steal. What is it? Steal. Stop the steal. And I'm like, there's no black people out there.
There may be a few tokens.
Maybe one or two. I'm like, I don't got really anything to worry about. I'm not pressed. I'm cool.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
I don't have a dog in this race. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm kind of cool. I'm going to sit back, watch this white on white crime, and I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I don't really feel nothing in my heart. My emotions are not stirred up. I'm like, I think I'm all right. I think I'm gonna just watch this one from from YouTube. I'm gonna hit the live on YouTube, and I'm gonna see what's going on. But
I sipped my tea on it. I said, let's watch this. This is entertainment. Grab my popcorn.
Absolutely. And of course, being the compassionate people that black people are, we don't want to see anyone get hurt by any means. We know what that feels like. So we don't want to see anyone get hurt. 4 people were shot. I don't know the stats on it. I know 4 people were shot.
4 people were actually killed, is from what I'm hearing. 4 people killed.
4 people were killed,
52 injured, and 17 police. No, 52 people arrested, and 14 police officers injured. Right.
So, of course, we're not, we're not sitting back and watching this and laughing. And now, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but at the same time, we've been through it, man. We've protested time and time and again. It's like we finally have an opportunity where we can just sit back and be like, all right, cool. What y'all fighting about?
Right.
Let's see how this thing transpires. Let's see how this thing rolls out.
Right. And what I got from it, I text you while I was at work, and I'm, watching my coworkers, and they're listening to it. They're like, wow, this is crazy. So what I got from it is, there's clearly 2 Americas.
There's definitely 2 Americas, because the fact that I'm at home and I'm not, I'm not really phased. I don't really have any, like I said, I don't have a horse in the race. I'm not, this doesn't pull at my heartstrings. But obviously these people at the Capitol are upset. They feel like the vote has been stolen. They feel like there was, the election was, obviously taken or stolen from them.
They feel like they were cheated.
So,
Hey, we just sit back and, see what happens. But what's interesting is all the videos that come out. And, obviously we've been protesting for years. We've been there. We've protested. We've been in the fields. And while I'm watching this protest, and you're seeing, like, the Capitol police officers, they're opening the gates for them.
Yep.
They're letting them in.
Yep.
They opened the door to the Capitol building. They stood to the side.
Yep.
They're taking selfies with the protesters, rioters, and agitators.
Right.
So it's a complete 180 when it comes to the police and protesting, when it comes to Black Lives Matter versus this, as I call it, the trumpets protest.
Yeah.
At the Capitol.
Yep.
And it signifies 2 Americas. Look how they treated Black Lives Matter. They're pepper spraying kids.
They treat us like animals. They treat us
beating
like
people
dogs.
over the head with batons, pushing old people down.
Shooting rubber bullets
in people's faces. Like, just chaos. But then you see this protest that just happened recently, and it's kind of buddy-buddy for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. And And I get it. Like the recent protests were a lot more extreme than protests in the past. Like people were actually lighting shit on fire. People were, smashing windows, throwing bricks through windows, looting, stealing, and doing all that. But that was just accumulation of, that was pent up aggression and anger, and the fact that time and time again, we are being brutalized by the police. Our voices are not being heard. The system doesn't work for us. Again, there's two Americas. So that was just literally like, enough is enough. If y'all are not going to hear us when we talk and we speak about these issues, and we speak about the fact that there are two Americas and this country is super hypocritical, maybe you'll hear us when we start lighting shit on fire.
Right.
If we start lighting shit on fire, we start burning down the Gucci store, we start burning down the Target, maybe, and it starts affecting your pockets and your money, maybe you guys will start hearing
Do
us.
you see us now?
Do you see us now? And what's funny is a lot of people do see the fact that there are two Americas. A lot of people are it's clear as day, right? If you're at the nation's capital, and forget storming into the nation's capital, but if you're at the nation's capital and you're not met with resistance, and they were out there in the tens of thousands, like the thousands.
There were thousands out there.
There was thousands of people out there waving around Trump flags. They were scaling the walls. They eventually got to, throwing bricks through the windows. And if you're at the nation's capital and you're not met with resistance, that is absurd. That is crazy to me.
It's wild. It's wild. Like we said, as I'm watching, it's unfathomable. Like, really? Like, you're really not going to treat these people the same exact way you treated people who supported Black Lives Matter and protested?
But you know what's unfortunate? It's like back to, a few episodes ago. It's like, I'm desensitized. It's unbelievable, but it's very believable.
It's like I expected it, but it's unbelievable that I expected it.
Exactly.
And it happened.
Exactly. I literally turned on the news and saw the police opening the barricades to let these people in, and I turned it off not because I was disgusted or appalled, it's because I've already seen this play out a million times. This is expected for me. For a black man that has seen the hypocrisy in this country, this is expected. Of course they're not going to treat them like they treat us. Of course they're not going to break out the tear gas. They're not going to break out the rubber bullets.
Right. Just open firing on a group. Your privilege is showing.
Right.
Your privilege is showing.
Right.
And, that's all we need to say. Like we said, we didn't have a horse in the race. We didn't have a dog in the fight. We're just coming from it from an observation perspective.
Right. And again, and it was funny because Tamika Mallory, I think she tweeted, we talked about her last episode as a cultural hero. She tweeted, she's like, black people, my suggestion is you sit back, you watch, and you stay your ass home because this ain't none of our business. But
facts.
What spoke volumes to me is the fact that she even had to tweet that, because and how I interpret it is black people, when they do see, I guess, some form of injustice, or they see people getting hurt or harmed, like we said, 4 people were shot and killed. There was police officers injured. There was other people injured. Our emotions start to stir up, and we start to have that compassion for human beings and for people.
Yes.
And we might, even though it's not our fight, we might want to start speaking up about it. We might even go to the extent of joining these people.
And we do that. Black people, we do that a lot.
And we do that a lot.
We support everybody else's cause, but...
So I found it interesting that Tamika Mallory made a point to say, yo, black people, stay your ass home, do what you're doing, and just let's watch this one from a distance. This has nothing to do with us.
Give them the Trump. Stand down and stand by.
Exactly. Stand down and stand by. This has nothing to do with it. Yes, we were able to see the hypocrisy plain as day, But let's watch it play out. Let's see how far this goes. Let's see what happens. Let's see how the police react and retaliate. Let's see how the administration. Let's see how Trump reacts and retaliates. Let's see how Biden and Kamala retaliate or react. Let's just watch from the stands, man. We sitting this game out.
Right.
We not playing this one. And what's funny is, a lot of in the early stages, people are saying, well, we weren't prepared for this, and it's like these people congregated over time throughout the day. For one,
these people knew that this date was coming much before.
The president of the United States, and I use that term loosely, Trump, he planned this publicly for some time now. He tweeted about it. He said it in one of his speeches. He said, we're going to march down Pennsylvania Road. We're going to go to the nation's capital, and we're going to, what's the term, the slogan? We're going to
stop the steal.
We're going to stop the steal. So we're not rolling with, we didn't know, we weren't prepared. No, Trump incited this a while back. I think as far back as December, November.
It was built up. It was built up. He mentioned it a few times.
And there was a date for it, too.
Mm-hmm.
January 6th. We're going to march down Pennsylvania Avenue or whatever the case is. We're going to go to the nation's capital, and we're going to stop the steal. So all that narrative and that bullshit of, we didn't know, we weren't prepared, you can miss me with that. Yeah. Because we were well aware. So again, it's just it plays to the hypocrisy of this country and how we treat black people versus how we treat white people.
Facts. Big facts. And it's interesting, as the protest / riot / trespassers / traitors, as I've been hearing in the media.
Terrorists.
Interesting label, right? I haven't heard that label.
I heard, I don't know if it was CNN, I heard them say thugs. I think that she said thugs.
She called them thugs?
I was like, thugs. Okay. All right.
That's a new one.
That's a new one. Usually that's reserved for us.
Right. And it was funny because as it was going on, you had Trump put out a message on, I don't know if it was Twitter or social media, and he was kind of like trying to calm, hey, you guys, like, I understand your pain, they're stealing the election from us, but we need to come together and we need to not be violent and, things of that nature, but still citing they're stealing it from us. We won the election already. They're stealing it from us. Right. We have to do whatever it takes to make sure we put it back in our favor, but just don't be violent and be respectful. So it's like you're putting out two different messages.
Right.
So how is a person, especially your supporter, supposed to receive that message? You're telling me to calm down, but then you're also telling me, hey, stop the steal. Right. It's happening.
Right. And the fact that you're not coming out on on television and addressing the people as the president just shows that what is playing out is what you wanted to play out. You're just tweeting, or you're releasing statements to kind of save some sort of face, but no, what's happening is exactly what you wanted to happen. Everything's going according as planned.
Since the moment Trump decided to run for president in 2016, every state he lost, anything that he lost, he said it was rigged.
Yeah.
He said it was something fraudulent going on.
Right.
So he started this 4 years ago, preparing you for any time Trump loses, well, it's rigged. It's a fraud.
Yeah.
They're stealing. Right. They're doing whatever it takes to make sure I don't win. Trump has told these people since day one that this would happen.
Right.
So he's low-key brainwashed his people.
Right.
So now when it comes to the end of it and he loses and he's sour, he's acting like a child, like, just lose and go home and try again in another 4 years.
Yeah, have some type of dignity. Leave with some type of dignity. You lost, just leave, on a high note. On a high note, leave with some sort of dignity and just bounce, bro. Like, your administration is literally crumbling. They're about to hopefully enact the 25th Amendment, which turns over the power to Pence, and get you the hell out of here.
for your last 2 weeks.
Which is what we should have done a long time ago for your last 2 weeks, bro. Like, what are you doing?
And it's interesting because you had a lot of Republicans or conservatives who backed him back off.
Oh,
they're
for
like,
sure.
yo, like, all right, you done went too far.
Yeah.
You went way too far.
You went way too far. They're going as far as saying, like, a lot of the administration and staffers has since quit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Romney was saying, for the existing staffers, don't try not to even take any demands or commands from Trump. Like, although he's still the sitting president as it stands as of right now, try not to, take any...
disregard what he says. Don't take it serious. He's on his way out.
We're working out the logistics to get this guy out of here. But, yeah, he's taking it too far. He's taking it way too far. And, again, from our POV, being black people in America, he took it way too far 4 years ago.
Off jump.
When he started saying we need to build a wall.
Yep. Mexicans are rapists.
Criminals.
And black people vote for me. What else? What other choice do you have?
Right. And we need to bring severe law and order to the streets of Chicago. We need to bring, it was just ridiculous.
When politicians talk about Chicago and the violence in Chicago, that's a dog whistle for all black people across America.
Right.
Because they always pinpoint Chicago, and yes, Chicago's rough. There's a lot of things that's going on that we wish would be different, but when there's a culture and an environment set, it takes a lot of time, months and years and generations to change that environment. So they point to Chicago to blanket black people across the country.
Absolutely. So again, it's what this episode is kind of centered around, is the fact that there's two Americas. There's an America and an experience and a reality for black people. And then there's an America, an experience and reality for white people. And there is a privilege, a white privilege for white people.
Definitely.
And that was displayed at the nation's capital on January 6th. And it's funny because just the very inception of our podcast, Driving While Black, and the name kind of illustrates and describes the hypocrisy and the two Americas in this country. Driving while black is a term that basically explains that, black people are stopped, are harassed by police simply because they're black. Not because they violated a traffic law, not because they're suspected of a crime, simply because they may be in a nice car, they may be in a nice neighborhood, and they're black. That's literally what driving while black is.
That's it.
And it's just funny that we're talking about two Americas now, and the inception and, the whole premise of this podcast is that, there's two different Americas.
Yeah. It's crazy because that's what we're about. We want to explain and give our opinions, point of view, have these raw conversations about it being two Americas. That's kind of what it's about.
Yeah.
But now we're in it. Now we're in the fire of it.
And that's kind of what it's been about. It's been about us saying, like, hey guys, hey world, like, there is clear racism that we're experiencing in our personal everyday lives. Mm-hmm. There's systemic racism. There's racism on TV. There's racism in the media. There's racism in the education system. There's racism
in law enforcement. In the justice system. There's racism everywhere. Like, can you guys not see it? And literally the world's saying no. No, I think no. Everything looks fine. Like there's affirmative action. Black people are thriving. Slavery was like 400 years ago. Get over it.
What are you guys talking about?
Come on. My ancestors, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah. America's a great country to live in.
Which it is.
But what's funny is now where it's, and this is what I always say as of for a long time. The only thing I thank Trump for, and I think the only thing he's done while being president, is exposing the underbelly of this country, and exposing the systemic and underlying racism in this country. Because again, it has been clear as day to us.
From Jump
Street. It's been clear as day. We've been made to feel like we were delusional, like we were crazy,
like we were victims,
like we were playing the victim, and we were just crying about something that didn't exist. But now, it's clear as day.
Tell me you can't see it now.
It's clear as day. And if you still find a way to debate, find a way to manipulate, or find a way to argue the fact that racism doesn't exist, systemic racism doesn't exist, I mean, I can't really even have a conversation with you. You're just a hypocrite. You're either just very, very uneducated and you live under a rock and you have no idea what's going on in the world, or you're just racist.
You're just racist, and you choose not to see the reality of all people and their livelihoods in this country.
And you're part of the problem, part of this big problem that we have in our country.
If you don't say anything, you're a part of the problem. If you're racist, you're a part of the problem. If you don't do whatever you can within your circle to fix the problem or speak about it or have conversations with black people or have conversations with other people of all races, just so we can all gather information, exchange thoughts and ideas, and come to a conclusion that we need to do something about this.
We need to do something about this. And again, I salute Trump because he allowed, in order for us to solve a problem or address a problem, we have to realize that there is in fact a problem.
We have to know it exists.
We have to know it exists, and I thank Trump for exposing that problem, to the highest degree, and allowing this country to have these conversations. And it is going to get a lot harder before it gets better. It's going to get a lot tougher. There's going to be a lot more protests. There's going to be a lot more, debates and arguments and differences of opinions. But what I love is the fact that we're having these conversations and people are coming to these revelations of, well, I have no ill will against black people. I have no hate in my heart, but maybe my ignorance and my silence is part of the problem.
It's playing a role.
I was talking to one of my friends, and he told me that his wife actually spent $50 on Amazon and purchased a book that it's called like How to Teach Anti-Racism. And I was like, that's amazing. For one of my white friends to come to me and say, hey, my wife just bought a book on how to teach anti-racism, and she's a teacher. And this is part of her way of contributing to a solution and having us move forward in a positive direction. She's going to not only teach this to her kids and her other family members, she's going to actually teach this to her students.
That's huge.
And I thought that was huge.
That's huge.
Because again, it's going to take, we've been hollering and yelling about this country and what's been the injustice of this country and the hypocrisy of this country and the racism in this country. We need some other players on the team. We need our white allies. We need them to talk to their family members,
to talk to their friends, talk to the people who don't think like them and who do not, believe that racism still exists.
Exactly.
Our allies have to be the ones to confront other white people or other people who don't believe racism exists, to start that conversation so we can get understanding on both sides.
Right.
Right. It's interesting with this whole, protest riot that popped off. It's just like we talked about, comparison of it. It's really crazy that, and I'm not really political. I try to find the balance.
Yeah.
Of a political side, like I'm not a liberal or I'm not conservative, because I have views and ideas that fit both sides. You know what I mean? So if you're a person that's all the way on one side or all the way on the other, I kind of question you. And why do you think like that? Because the scale's not balanced, right?
Right.
And given these protests, you can clearly tell that the ideals of Black Lives Matter protesting, and they're calling us terrorists and anti-American for those protests. But with these protests that happened January 6th, aren't you doing the same thing, but actually even more extreme?
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy. And it's like, if we're telling you there's something wrong in this country, there's something wrong with the system, and we need to fix it, we need to conjure up new ideas to implement into our system so we can all live as one in a society. But we've been saying these things for the last 5, 10, 400 years.
Yeah.
That there's an issue. But now, because your man didn't win the election, now you have a problem with the system.
Now you got to be